Hello, everybody. So welcome to this joint session of Cyberlink and Avaloq. And as you have heard, it's going back to the financial sector, to the Ssfn, and we're doing everything possible to convince here that it's not a mess at all, so it's all really nice organized. And together we are going to address the question how the secure Swiss finance network enhances Avaloq's financial cloud. My name is Knüsel, I'm the CEO of Cyberlink, and I wouldn't be able to answer all these questions and provide you all the insights without my guest today. And please welcome on stage Andreas Würsch as Head of Core Infrastructure Services from Avaloq. And before we dig deeper now into Avaloq and really want to understand how they do things, let me shortly introduce Cyberlink and especially also how SCION is important for us as managed infrastructure service for managed services. So what we do is we're a Zurich-based managed service provider focusing on business customers, and we offer connectivity services like business internet, private networks, and as well SCION. And we complement those services with cloud and co-location services in our data centers. And as we are a business provider, we have a strong focus on security and compliance. This is the Cyberlink landscape, and one of our USPs is that we have access to a lot of carrier networks. So what we do in project is we take the best networks available and combine them with the right network technology, SD-WAN, MPLS, DMVPN, or SCION, in order to fulfill our customers' needs. And SCION, of course, has become more and more important because we can really fulfill high-level requirements and standards with that technology. But now let's focus on Avaloq, Andreas. So please tell us a bit about what is your mission at Avaloq and what is your strategy with your core banking platform?
Good afternoon, everyone. A few words about Avaloq. Some of you have heard Avaloq before. What do? We produce and we run banking software, core banking systems for banks and wealth managers. Avaloq is 40 years young, was founded here also in Switzerland. Now, like everyone else here in the room, we go through a transformation. So we are also part of that. It goes towards clouds. Now, what is our strategy, or why do we move to cloud or clouds? It's all about clients, of course, but key items are it is become more simple, globally uniform. We work internationally. Have the same operating model, do things or engineer things once, design it, and then apply it many times in the same way. We want to use automation, very key, and it's banking-grade security is absolutely key. Now, what do we use, or clouds, or different clouds? We are going for Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, OCI. This is also, it's a little bit history. The Avaloq Core platform is basically an Oracle database. So where does it run? Well, of course, on an Oracle cloud. Now, it was also, how can we use an Oracle cloud in our different setups? Let me show you here on the next slide. On top, if we talk, it's 3 times the same. It is an Oracle cloud. It's a cloud. It is the whole cloud controller is in each one of those, let's say, 3 pillars or also locations. It's the same hardware. It works in the same way, it behaves in the same way. That's very key. If you want to automate, it has to be the same. Now, still, it's different. What did we do for Switzerland? In Switzerland, it is, you take a public cloud and you put it into an Avaloq box, basically. So if you're a private cloud, full-fledged private cloud, with 2 regions in Switzerland. For the European Union, we are leveraging the EU sovereign cloud, which is fully under EU regulation and control. And again, a different flavor for Singapore, on the rightmost side, where we are in a regular public cloud. You see there are differences in terms what is a full-fledged public cloud or then a private cloud. Now, SCION, it's all about connectivity. Now, both setups, maybe the old and the new, it can be a little bit messy, and actually also this drawing is a little bit messy, but it is to get some order into it. Now, there is an evolution. If we go from the old world, if I also look in our old data centers, I have per bank, per also third party, per partner, I have a separate device, I have a separate cable. That's the old world. The paradigm shift, where from a pure physical segregation, we go into a virtual segregation. So now, on the same port, physical port, I don't have one bank, I have many banks. I don't have one third party, I have many third parties. Now, of course, the physical resilience is still absolutely key. Also, cloud, it's not up in the sky, like many people think. If you talk about clouds, it's still just a bunch of boxes in the end. And their physics, they also still play a role. What we wanted or what we were looking for is a little bit the best of both worlds. Have a little bit private network, certain aspects, but also certain benefits of a public network. That's basically what we were looking for, and our requirements are, it needs to be secure, it has to be virtual, we connect to clouds. I cannot have a box or boxes put into a cloud, it doesn't work. I need flexibility and I need to be compliant. And now, this is the point where the dialogue between the two of us actually started.
And Ssfn came into play. So let's have a, looking at all these requirements, it really seems that it's very difficult to solve. But with SCION and the secure Swiss finance network, we had actually a platform that would really allow us to fulfill these requirements. So let's have a short look into what the Ssfn really is. And for that, we need to go actually a step back to the predecessor of the Ssfn. It's called the Finance IPNet. It's a secure but limited private network and has a centralized hub-and-spoke architecture. So participants were actually using it for connecting to SIX and using SIX services. However, if they wanted to connect and communicate with other institutions, separate and additional connectivity was needed. For example, vulnerable VPN over the internet or very expensive dedicated private lines. Now, SCION came into play with the concept of the isolation domain. Isolation domains are local governance domains with their own trust policies. And what it means, it means that it allows to link ISPs, providers, with participants in one trust area. And it is controlled by certificates. That means every participant has its own certificate. And if you don't follow the rules, the certificates can be withdrawn. And ISDs also can be open or closed. And now, based on that concept of an isolation domain, of a closed isolation domain, a central communication platform for the Swiss financial market appeared, and it was called the Secure Swiss Financial Network. It is a flexible any-to-any communication platform for all participants. So Avaloq, as one of the participants, may use the services offered by other participants, for example, like SIX, may also offer their own services and communicate with anybody else, with all the participants on the platform. And in addition, it even allows that they may connect their affiliates, and in case of a bank, for example, even their ATM machines. So that leads also to consolidation. Not separate links and point-to-point connectivity was needed if it can be done on this one central platform, and even compliant with the Swiss National Bank and governed communication regulations. So Andreas, now this is the Ssfn. But how did we now connect Avaloq to the Ssfn? What were your implementation requirements?
Well, let's have a look here. So I'm a practical guy. I'm an engineer. It's then to implement it, to get it done. The physical redundancy, that's still absolutely a key factor. We needed to have multiple players also involved so that we don't have a single point of failure. It is connect multiple banks, multiple partners in the same way, not a port for each one of them. Virtual segregation, and it needs to be cloud compatible, simple. Take what is also already existing, what works. Don't go totally into a 1-2 year project. We didn't have time. It was about fail fast. And this is the two horses. At the beginning of our discussion, we said we had different ideas. It then boiled down to 2 different approaches. And it was okay. One of those horses needs to go over the finishing line. Don't care which one. But it has to go over the finishing line. So let's go in parallel and have, let's say, a competition also of ideas, different approaches, and prove what works.
Exactly. And now I have the honor to present you the winning horse. So what we did is we have on the left-hand side the DRCC private cloud of Avaloq. And the question was, how do we connect it to the Ssfn? And after several rounds of testing and discussions and looking at different horses, we decided to not natively integrate SCION in the cloud because of various reasons. Also, in the case of who operates it and who is allowed to access then this cloud. So we decided to use standard service fabric connectivity to connect the Cyberlink data center, where we have the SCION Edge and the SCION core services operated to create the connection into the Ssfn. And now, of course, we have the requirement to be fully redundant and also have a multi-provider setup. So we built another second path through another data center where we have another SCION Edge service from Cyberlink, but now another core service from a second SCION provider to really fulfill the requirements. At the end, when you look at it, it looks simple, it is straightforward, and I think that was actually the aim, so to reduce unnecessary complexity, be fast, and have a solution. And now, Andreas, your Swiss clouds are now connected to the Ssfn, but how do you envision the future? How could this journey continue?
Of course, I wouldn't want to stop here. I have ambition. Now, if you look at this drawing, that shows a little bit. You saw I have different cloud setups. I have in the European Union. I have in Singapore. So, yeah, I see some smiley faces. Yeah, there should be the same in Singapore. I would wish Singapore would have the potential, absolutely. Know Singapore well. The European Union, that would also be one. Now here is, on this slide, it's not now that the sovereignty of data, which we also run, for banks, it's not that now this data just goes all over. That's not the intention. It's about selective data. It's specific items which flow. This can be for Avaloq or also for the banks. It's also that other players can connect. It's really interconnect, simple, seamlessly secure, and have actually the possibility to create really a global financial ecosystem in this way. Here drawn, super simple, but I think it's understandable. I would love to be able to do this in the future and also hook up the other clouds I showed you in this way, and also new jurisdiction, new clouds which we might be setting up, or also public clouds which we are using.
Wow, interconnecting the global financial ecosystem, I think that's a great statement to close it off. And very interesting to see also what other participants here of that audience will think about that. And Andreas, thank you very much for all these insights and to show us what important aspects SCION plays in your cloud strategy. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for the collaboration.